Welcome to Long Story Short. Today we are dissecting William Shakespeare's 1606 tragedy King Lear, a play that stands as the absolute pinnacle of English literature for its apocalyptic exploration of madness and the complete destruction of the natural order. Ugh. Imagine being an all-powerful king who decides to retire, but instead of dividing your kingdom based on logic, you force your three daughters to participate in a public love test. You banish the only daughter who actually loves you because she refuses to flatter you, and you hand all of your military and political power to the two daughters who are secretly planning to destroy you. You spend the rest of the play wandering through a literal and psychological hurricane, realizing that you have traded your crown for absolute nothingness. That is the tragic and foolish reality for our protagonist, King Lear. This play is not just a family drama about inheritance. It is a profound philosophical study of human frailty and the terrifying realization that when you strip away the titles and the expensive clothes, a king is just a weak and naked animal shivering in the freezing rain. Long story short, King Lear is a searing examination of blind arrogance and a devastating warning that power without wisdom will always lead to total annihilation. Let us set the scene in the ancient kingdom of Britain. King Lear is aging and wants to divide his realm between his daughters Goneril and Regan and Cordelia. He demands that they publicly declare how much they love him to win their share. Goneril and Regan are direct character foils to Cordelia. While the older sisters use manipulative and hollow flattery to secure their land, Cordelia possesses a pure and honest love that cannot be reduced to a political transaction. When Cordelia tells Lear that she loves him exactly according to her bond and nothing more, Lear flies into a blind, narcissistic rage, clears throat. He violently banishes Cordelia and disowns his most loyal advisor, the Earl of Kent, simply because Kent tries to tell him the truth. In a massive parallel subplot, we meet the Earl of Gloucester and his two sons. Edgar is the legitimate son and a direct moral foil to Edmund, who is the illegitimate son. Edmund is the ultimate Machiavellian villain who believes that nature is his only goddess, and he brilliantly tricks his father into believing that Edgar is plotting a murder, forcing the innocent Edgar to flee into the wilderness. The plot accelerates as Lear realizes the catastrophic magnitude of his mistake. He goes to live with Goneril and Regan, but they systematically strip away his 100 knights and humiliate him, proving that they have zero respect for his former authority. Driven completely insane by their cruelty and his own massive guilt, Lear runs out into a massive thunderstorm on the Heath. He is accompanied only by his loyal fool, who acts as his bitter conscience and the disguised Earl of Kent. Out in the storm, they find a beggar named Poor Tom, who is actually the disguised Edgar. Seeing this naked and shivering madman, Lear has a profound existential breakthrough. He realizes that the poor and the homeless have been suffering in his kingdom for decades, and he never did anything to help them when he had the power. He tears off his royal clothes to become an unaccommodated man, completely identifying with the lowest rung of human existence. If William Shakespeare's poetic and complex 1606 prose feels overwhelming, and you want to truly understand the core theme of the text, you can get the full audiobook entirely for free by starting an Audible trial with my link in the description below. Listening to the original text is the absolute best way to grasp the rhythmic value and the theatrical power of this tragedy. Now let us examine the horrifying climax and the ultimate apocalyptic tragedy. While Lear is descending into madness, Gloucester is punished for secretly trying to help the king. In one of the most violent scenes in all of literature, Regan and her husband Cornwall tie Gloucester to a chair and literally gouge out both of his eyes with their bare hands. They throw the bleeding blind man out of the gates to smell his way to Dover. Blind Gloucester is eventually found by his disguised son Edgar. Gloucester begs to be led to a cliff so he can commit suicide, but Edgar brilliantly tricks his father into believing he survived the fall, giving him a renewed sense of spiritual faith. Uh, the French army led by Cordelia arrives to save Lear and the kingdom. Lear and Cordelia are beautifully reunited, and Lear begs for her forgiveness, dropping his pride completely. But the universe of King Lear is merciless. The French forces lose the battle, and Edmund secretly orders Cordelia to be hanged in prison. The play ends with Lear carrying the dead body of his beloved Cordelia onto the stage, howling in absolute unbearable grief. His heart finally gives out, and he dies. The kingdom is left in total ruins, with almost every major character dead, proving that the moral arc of this universe bends toward chaos. If you want to absolutely dominate your AP literature exam, you need to weave these specific foundational symbols into your final essays. First, we have the storm on the Heath. The storm is a massive macrocosm of Lear's internal microcosm. It represents his violent descent into madness and the total breakdown of the political and natural order of Britain. When the king loses his mind, the universe itself reacts with violent chaos. Second, you must discuss the motif of blindness. This is both literal and metaphorical. Lear is physically sighted, but totally blind to the true nature of his daughters. Gloucester is physically blinded, but only then does he finally see the truth about his sons. It symbolizes the tragic idea that humans often require extreme suffering to achieve true vision. Finally, the symbol of nothing. The word nothing is repeated dozens of times throughout the text, beginning with Cordelia's first answer. It represents the stripping away of all titles and wealth and sanity until the characters are left with the absolute terrifying void of human existence. If you have a paper or a test coming up, watching a summary gets you the plot, but reading William Shakespeare's actual prose is where you master the material. You can grab the physical copy on Amazon or get the audiobook completely for free with an Audible trial using the links in the description below. That is the long story short. Please like and subscribe for more literature breakdowns. See you in the next one.